Okay, we'll now go to Parks and Recreation Committee, which is chaired by Roxanne Murphy.
Good afternoon, all. I am Roxanne Murphy, Chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee, and I am joined by Councilmember Borneman and Councilmember Weiss. We have one agenda item today, and it is the very exciting Park Operations Update. James King, could you take it away?
Thank you, James King, Parks and Recreation Department. We'd just like to come before you once in a while and give you an update from the Operations Division. We have Marvin Harris with us today, the manager of that division, so we'll give you kind of an update of many of the things we do, and then on the special projects that both have been completed this year and are still coming up in this budget. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Marvin.
Thank you. Excuse me. Get closer to the mic here. Thank you for the opportunity to share some information, give an overview of the Park Operations Division. We're one of 4 divisions in Park and Recreation. Operation Division, James's Division, the Admin Division. Leslie Bryson is in Planning and Design. And then Dick Henry is in Recreation. And I think Dick had an opportunity a couple months ago to update you guys on Recreation. So this is Park Operation next. So I have a brief PowerPoint presentation that kind of gives you a good overview, and after that brief overview, if you have any questions that I can respond to, I'll be happy to do that about park operations. So we'll get started here if I can make the equipment work. That works so far. Park operations is is 2 things. It's about people. One thing about people, it's the people we serve, and it's also the people that do the serving. So I think besides the bricks and sticks that we get involved with and trees, we're also about presenting and providing the best possible parks we can, the safest and the ones that are maintained well. So that's pretty much what our goal is and what we try to strive for every day. I'm sorry, I'm using the little cues from the theatrical air to make the presentation work. So the cast, as I explained, we're one of the 4 divisions of the City Parks Department. Within park operations, we consequently have 4 divisions as well. The admin division, which basically falls under my direction, as well as the other 3. But the other 3 divisions, park grounds, we have then buildings, and then we have what we call our enterprise division, enterprise program that's composed of the cemetery and Lake Padden Golf Course. Within that grouping, we have 52 staff members. Of that, there's 29 that are full-time and 23 roughly that are seasonals, and our seasonals go anywhere from a 4-month seasonal all the way up to a 9-month seasonal. And we really depend a lot on our seasonal staff to meet those high peak needs for service in the system. So I'd like to go through each of these areas as part of the cast. The stage that we set in is certainly a great stage to work from. Over the years, the residents and city councils and supporters of the Parks Department have built a great system, one of the greatest ones I've seen in the country, and I've had the opportunity to work for 3 different systems in my career. The citizens have countlessly gone back to support programs. In the 18 years I've been here, there's been 2 Greenway programs passed, which has enhanced the parks and facilities that we have. Looking at the slide, we've got 28 neighborhood parks, 22 community parks, 7 institutional areas, those being something that's more or less like our shop area and things like that are not necessarily park areas, 32 open space areas, and 68 miles of trail. And like they say on the commercials, this is all subject to change. So I'm not sure if these figures are totally up to date right now, but they're at least good for what we're talking about at this point in time. Also, looking at the operations budget, it's almost $5 million. It's a large budget within the city budgeting system. A lot of our budgeting is for staff and personnel, just because we have a lot of field staff that are there. The management budget's a little less than $500,000. Both the grounds and the building budgets are $1.8 million, and then the enterprise with the cemetery budget at $700,000+, and the golf course at nearly $200,000. So there's quite a bit of funds that go to the operation of our system. Well, Act One is basically the admin staff, and that's pretty limited. That's about 4 of us that run park operations from the admin side. We don't have as much responsibility as the other program areas or other work groups, excuse me, because of it's just a simple organization. But of that $500,000, we pay a lot of costs that aren't associated. Our budget tends to pay out things that aren't associated with the other budgets. One of the big programs we have is the volunteer program, works out of that. Ray Edwards has been in that program for a number of years, and without the volunteers, we wouldn't get to a lot of the rehabbing areas and controlling invasive species that a number of people getting together in a work party does. So it is really great, and you can see the number of hours each year, and we really depend on a lot, and it's a good chance to get people involved in our park system as well. The other part is the admin, and I think they figure that we're all lost at sea and hunting for direction, so that's kind of what the rest of us do. Act Two is our grounds program, and pretty much this is everything that grows. It's green and it's growing, so it's either the grass that are in the more urbanized parks, it's the trees, it's the flower beds, it's care of those, it's planting of those, it's mowing, it's everything that's pretty much associated with everything that's green is part of it. There's 3 work groups that work out of that. There's the urban parks group that do the more urbanized park with grasses and sidewalks and things like that, and then we have our forestry work group, which is basically 2 people that are pretty much responsible for all the city park street trees, the park trees, the open space trees, and the street trees in the program. So they're literally putting out fires, but not this year. We're not trying to have fires this year. But that work group is really, pressed the wrong button, really kind of always taxed on what they're trying to do. And then the other work group there is the natural resources, and this is a group that works pretty much in our open space areas. They keep the trails all maintained, they fix trails, they build trails, so it's a pretty important part of our overall operation. Giving you an idea of the neighborhood park, we have 28 of those. This is an aerial view of Franklin Park. It kind of gives you pretty much the context of a neighborhood park. There's a playground there, there's maybe a sports court there, there's a lot of sidewalks, a lot of grass that we mow, trees, and it really serves that smaller work area around neighborhoods people can walk to. We have, again, 28 neighborhood parks, anywhere from the smallest one I think would be Fairhaven Village Green up to Franklin, and some of the little bit bigger ones. Roosevelt's probably the biggest of the neighborhood parks. The other group is community parks. Again, this has a combination of the grounds that need to be maintained, grass clipped, as well as some forest areas. And this is Bloedel, and it's small in acreage but large in volume. A lot of people use this park each year just because of the proximity to the Lake Whatcom. Then you also look at our biggest park, which is almost 900 acres at Lake Padden, and it's still busy, but it spreads out a little bit more. There's more open space there that we maintain as well. And then kind of the last grouping in parks is our open space areas. This is a picture of aerial photo of the Seaholm Arboretum. There's 100 acres there, partially city land and partially university land. Again, this is probably the biggest single open space we have in the system. Then the fourth piece of the setting for grounds is the trails, and 68 miles of multi-use trails. When you say there's 68 miles, there's twice that many miles when you're mowing them, because you have to do both sides. This is kind of a combination. It's a neat combination. You've got a large trail going into a bridge that basically linked a lot of the north-south traffic within the city of Bellingham, right at Alabama. I live the third house below Alabama, just below the trail, so I'm really familiar with the trail activity and certainly enjoy it. The last setting then is our institutional setting, which is Lake Padden Golf Course, Bayview Cemetery, park operation area. And we have interlocal agreements that are between mainly the school district, where we do some of the maintaining of some of their property, and they do some maintenance for us. This is the Shuckson Meadows playground that's been there for a number of years, that we actually built the land that belongs to the school district. Giving an idea of what we mow, this is a 72-inch mower, so it has a 6-foot cut width. So this is some factoids. So each year we mow several acres of grass, and this is probably the smallest mowing unit we use. We have bigger mowing units that we use. But in a year's time, if you took an acre of grass, and it's roughly 208 feet by 208 feet, and you cut a 6-foot strip out of that grass, that would be 34.6 strips that you'd actually mow back and forth, back and forth. So that equals 7,197 lineal feet. So roughly we have 186 acres of grass. Some we mow a little more often, some that we mow a little less. But looking at that in a one mowing cycle, if you looked at that, would be 1,338,642 lineal feet in one mowing cycle. And we average probably 12 mowing cycles a year. Some more or less, and more in the spring and some less in the fall, but I'm going to use that as an average. So that's 253 miles of in that one mowing cycle multiplied times 12 times. So that's 3,036 miles of mowing we do in one season. So how far is that? So that would take you from LA to Boston, and fortunately, I'm not sure how long it would take on that 72-inch mower, but it would be a lot of miles going that direction. The other piece is we've got roughly 2 acres of beds, and using 6 foot wide, and that 6 foot wide in the acre at 7,192 lineal feet. If you take it by the 2 beds and then you convert that basically into miles again, it would be 2.72 miles of planting beds that we maintain each year. That's throughout the system, but that's a lot of weed picking and planting in that time period. It's impossible to tell how many trees we have on 334,000 acres of parkland, but it's lots. And with 2 people in the forestry work group, that's a lot to maintain. We also have opportunity to outreach. This one picture is our Arbor Day celebration at Elizabeth Park. We actually have a chance for people to do some climbing, get up in the trees, and it's really a neat event each fall, or excuse me, each summer. What we also create out of all those trees when we cut them down is mountains of mulch. We have tons of mulch. This year and last year, we've had more mulch than I've seen in the last 18 years. I'm not sure where it's all coming from, but we reuse it. We spread a lot of it in park areas. This is in the Cornwall area near the disc golf course. It makes a great surface for, excuse me, for playing disc golf on. It keeps weeds down, and it's a great growing media. We use it beside the trails. Again, our typical trail has some limestone surfacing and then some mulch adjacent to it, which makes a great surface. It's easier for us to maintain, and it's really a well-traveled surface for walking and bicycling as well. Next stack would be the facilities work group or the buildings work group, and they basically are the plumber, the electrician, and the carpenters. They do all the bricks and sticks stuff, plus the facilities management. Facilities management do the sanitation work. They also facilitate group activities. So they're always in the park. They're there 7 days a week. They're there from 6 in the morning till 10 at night. So they're ones that are always in the field, and they really provide a lot of service that we at the admin staff that don't know where we're going never see. The stuff in the field they really take a good job of. Give you a rough idea of building and structures. We have 85 structures, nearly 80,000 square feet. We have 31 acres of hard surfaces, 232,385 parking spaces, 27 playgrounds, 26 restrooms, which all break, need to be fixed, need to be repaired. So there's a lot on our plate. Giving an idea of the fixtures, there's 56 drinking fountains, 124 hose beds, 145 toilets, 47 urinals, 20 lavatories, 21 kitchens, 11 showers, 45 water heaters, and it used to be 8 lift stations, but thanks to Public Works and their help, we've eliminated one of those lift stations at Boulevard Park, so that's off our list. It's really a good thing to have off your list. 69 water meters and 66 backflow preventers. That's what the structure staff does a lot. Now, what our facility staff does, to give you an idea, a lot of sanitation, but our biggest commodity is toilet paper. We go through 155 cases of toilet paper each year, and it's 1 ply. We only use the best. On a roll, you can get 1,500 feet. I couldn't imagine giving 1,500 feet of anything on a roll, but on a roll of toilet paper, you get 1,500 feet. And we use 60 cases per year. So one roll will go 500 feet. I almost measured it just to make sure, but I didn't do that, but I take their word for it. 60 cases, that's 30,000 feet per case, and then you go through 155 cases, and if I can see right, my text is kind of in the way there, 4,650,000 lineal feet used in 2014. So you're asking how far does that go? Well, it actually goes, when you put that together, it goes 880 miles of toilet paper we go through each year, and that would take you from Bellingham to San Francisco. So it kind of makes you wonder where all it goes, but it's there. The next piece is we go through a lot of trash each year that's in our dumpsters and trash cans. Our bags are 20 by 13 by 44, which holds about 6.62 cubic feet of trash. And we go through 280 cases each year. Then that would generate 56,000 bags, and 56,000 bags times 6.26 cubic feet would give us 350,560 cubic feet of trash. I know your guys are getting bored with a little bit. I'll try to speed up. Put it on an acre. You look at the acre. That much trash, if you did it by an acre, 6 foot wide, would make a strip that would be 5.45 miles long worth of trash that we collect each year out of the park system. We do a lot of building and construction in the facilities group. We use a lot of nails and screws and everything else that's in between as well. Our Act 4 is our enterprise program, which is, again, the cemetery and the golf course. In the cemetery, it's about 100 acres, and about 50 to 60 acres have been developed. That's 20,000 tombstones and 24,000 interments in the cemetery, and we do about 140 interments each year. We also place monuments, which is part of our service at the cemetery. If you look at the number of headstones we edge each summer, and during the season, for an 8-month season, we do it 6 times during the season. That's 320,000 headstones we age each year. So we average about 1 inch of line per headstone, so that's 5 miles of trim line that we use each year edging headstones. Give you the additional things we do behind our normal stuff that we are involved with. There's a building that we retrofitted at Squalicum Creek to add some more shop space that we're kind of very short of, and that's in the process of being finished now. We've done the carpentry work, the plumbing work, and everything that has needed to remodel that space. The sewer line project, which we're grateful that Public Works was able to come in and help us out. This was a sewer system that was begun in the 1970s that really needed to be replaced, that went from Woods Coffee all the way to the trestle. And during that process, the park, again, was out of service for a while, but I think the overall completion was done real well by the contractor, and that new lift station will serve into the future for a number of years. Also, we worked with the Noon Kiwanis Club to retrofit and do a new playground at the Cornwall Tot Lot. That was a great opportunity for our staff to replace a small playground and work with the Kiwanis Club at the same time. On our slate for this year, we've got Broadway Park swings. We've done the design work. We have the swings ready, and we'll be ready to install them in the next month. In addition, the forestry crew and our horticulture crew have done a lot of work at Maritime Heritage Park, limbing up some of the areas. We've done some more work this week to make the areas around the park a lot more visible. I think that makes the park a lot more user-friendly, and it improves the visual corridors by a considerable amount in that park. We did some painting of the Environmental Center. We worked with the Whatcom Rowing Association to do their dock and do repairs to it, so we're in the water there. We had to do an emergency lift station at Lake Padden. We've done that again this summer. Built a new fence at Forest and Cedar. I think that fence there probably could have been on the historic list. It was so old and uniquely built. Lake Patton Golf Course, we have on our list to go ahead and do a new water line there. This year will be about 3,000 feet to the restrooms there. We also have a new playground, new fences to go around the community gardens that we're working with both Fairhaven and as well as Happy Valley. Woodstock Farm, we've got some work to do, plumbing work in the inside, redo the cook's house. It's a unique structure. We want to redo it this year so that we can make available a spot. Maybe we can have a caretaker live down there in the future to give us a presence on the site. And it rolls back into one thing. It's for everybody that we're here. We'd love to serve the public and make our parks as available and as safe as possible. And this is the Elvis Room. If you've never seen it, you'll have to try to find out where it is. It's been here at least for 18 years and many years before that. So that's all I've got. Can I answer any questions?
Great. Well, first off, I hope I can speak on behalf of the council for thanking the Operations Division for everything that you do to maintain our parks, for the individual treasures that each of them are. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then committee members, any questions or any feedback?
No, I just think I wanted to thank you as well, Marvin, and your crew. The one thing you didn't even mention is the extra work that your crew does to help deal with homeless camps. You know, that because I bumped into a trail worker a few months back, and he shared with me a lot. It was a real eye-opener about some of the stuff that you guys have to go and do. It's really impressive. And so the other thing, I was just curious, how many pixels did we see in this PowerPoint?
I'm not sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Council members, anything further? Okay, end of committee.
Okay, thank you.